Hello everyone, it's Thursday. So when I was a freshman in college, every week my RAs would have a floor meeting, usually at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night, I think. It's been almost 10 years, so I'm just lucky that I remember that it was at 10 p.m. Now, I don't remember much about what happened at these meetings. Well, I don't remember much about what happened the majority of my freshman year because I wasn't exactly the best student. I'm straying away from the topic. Anyway, so the purpose of these meetings was to build community within the guys that lived on this floor. I was one of about 44 other guys that lived on this floor, and I knew almost all of them by the time the year was over, largely thanks to these meetings, which would often lead to us doing things together as a floor, like a community breakfast, which we had in the springtime, I think, a gift exchange at Christmas, and an end-of-the-year cookout at a local park. There was one particular activity we did at one of these meetings that I remember very well because I chose to not participate in it. Now, for the record, this wasn't the only activity that I was absent for, but for the purposes of this video, I'm sharing with you this specific one. For one of these meetings, my RAs brought in large tubs of water into the floor lounge. Once the meeting began and they explained what they would be used for, I got very nervous and promptly left the room. This was my first encounter with what John's Gospel calls the washing of the feet. Before this particular event, I had never encountered a foot washing service, let alone have been a part of one, and quite honestly, I did not want to have my feet washed. Now, for context, John's Gospel is the only gospel that discusses the washing of the feet. The moment during the Last Supper when Jesus rises from the table, removes his outer garment, wraps a towel around his waist, and promptly washes his disciples' feet, an act that was usually meant to be performed by servants. Jesus performing this act was completely countercultural, especially during his life. Teachers and those in authority never stooped to the level of a servant. We even hear Peter in this gospel objecting to Jesus' act, saying that he would never wash his feet. But the whole act of the foot washing by Jesus is to give not only his disciples an example of how to follow him, but he also gives that example to us. And like his disciples, commands us to go out and do likewise. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and wash everyone's feet. This is an example of how we are to live as Jesus did, humbling ourselves for others and serving them, just like Jesus did to his apostles. Since my first encounter with foot washing in college, I have had many opportunities to not only have my feet washed, but also to wash someone else's feet. And friends, I have not encountered anything more humbling than the act of washing the feet of another person. My challenge for you as we enter into these holiest days of the year is to look out for those people in your life whose feet you can wash. How can you humble yourself enough to someone else? Now, don't forget, it goes both ways. Are we going to be like Peter and refuse to let someone else serve us? Or will we relinquish that moment of control and allow them to be Jesus to us? The choice is yours. Will you let someone else wash your feet? God bless. I'll see you all tomorrow.